Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. It's Alysia and I'm very excited to be with you here live from warm, sunny San Francisco, California. We are broadcasting once again from our downtown offices overlooking the Twitter building and absolutely loving the vibes of summer in the air. As you may have heard, support for our growing global fireside chat community and everything we're doing is really starting to gain massive momentum here in Silicon Valley, the pulse of global technology entrepreneurship. I can't wait to share all the incredibly exciting progress with all of you, our loyal global fireside chat community. Once again today, we're an amazing session for you around finding. I'm so sorry. Somebody seems to be having terrible feedback there. Our technology team is dealing with it. As I was saying, today we have an amazing session planned for you around finding simple, effective, and profitable business ideas. We have a panel of brilliant experts joining us from across the globe to help you become a truly successful entrepreneur. After all, every journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and for many of you, that step begins today. Now, I know how many of you are joining us, and I know how many questions there are. So let me quickly go ahead and introduce our VIP guests before asking them to properly introduce themselves to you. So welcome to Malaysia-based Khairul Anwar, who's an entrepreneur, global innovative thinker, coach, and educator. California, USA-based Mary Moore, who's an international speaker, lecturer, PR consultant, communication coach, influencer, author, and publisher. Perth, Australia-based Murray Tulakima, who's an entrepreneur, author, international oil and gas expert and women's empowerment advocate, and one of our greatest champions around the globe. California, USA-based Sandra Biskin, who's the #1 best-selling author, transformational spiritual leader, entrepreneur, and speaker. Nigeria, Africa-based Fatima Umar, who's a mentor, supply chain management expert, and women's empowerment advocate, or one of our big champions in Nigeria. And Nigeria, Africa-based Bukos Umazine, who's an educator, executive, mentor, and women's empowerment advocate. Now I'd like to ask each of our experts to please go ahead and as quickly as you can, I know we've got a lot to cover today, please introduce yourselves. Murray, please say hi to everyone.
Hi everybody, it's such a pleasure to be back here in this forum. It's amazing how it has grown. So I'm Murray Tulakima, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm based in Perth, Australia. I'm involved in oil and gas, and I'm also a writer, so I'm finishing my third book, and I'm a great advocate of women and advancement and also STEM, so that's me.
Welcome, Lorraine, we're very happy to have you back. Sandra, please say hi to everyone.
Oh, hi everyone, it's Sandra Biskind here, and I'm so honored to be on this call. I am a transformational life coach, a speaker, and #1 best-selling author, and I'm finishing up with my husband now our 6th book, and I am absolutely passionate about empowering people to find a strong connection to their true self, because we know that that's the path to truly successful life and business.
Welcome, 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 Sandra. Very excited to have you join us. Khairul, please say hi to everyone.
Hello, I'm Khairul from Malaysia. Yeah, I'm dealing with, I'm an innovation coach, transforming organizations and entrepreneurs. I am delighted to be on a fireside chat and discuss with all of you.
Welcome, Khairul. Very excited to have you join us. A couple of our panelists are logging in from around the globe, as you know, and are having some issues. So given the shortness of our time together, as we get them right, we'll definitely ask them to say hi to you. But quickly, just to make sure we cover this, we're going to jump into a few things. On the screen are contact details for our panelists. Feel free to reach out to them. I know they'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to keep sending your questions through to inspireme@onlinefiresidechat.com, and we'll do our best to include them. We have some champions managing the chat room today, including our very own Dampatraj Dariwa and Amina from South Africa, as well as Ajiyama. You know them by now, so feel free to send your questions through to them. I know they'll help make sure they get answered. Just a reminder, we have community champions and ever-growing meetup groups in 55 countries and 79 cities around the globe, including in North and South America, the UK, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, India, Asia, Australia. I'm not going to cover them today, but if you'd like to meet up with your local chapters or you'd like to start your own, feel free to reach out to us and put you in contact with our local community champion. On that note, thank you to all our champions from around the globe. You know this, but you're the heart and soul of our community, and we wouldn't be here today without you. Over the next few months, and with all your help, we'll be sharing and inspiring new entrepreneurs in more than 100 countries. We know we can make this happen, so thank you to all of you. On that note, thank you to all our VIP guests who so generously share your wisdom and knowledge with our global community. Thank you very, very much to our supporters and collaborators from the developing world who are once again hosting sessions for hundreds of entrepreneurs who don't have access to a network bandwidth or understanding of English to host their session on their own. Thank you to all the ministers, ambassadors, government ministries, UN offices, US Embassy Corners, British Council offices, universities, schools, business incubators, Chamber of Commerce, community centers, radio stations for all your weekly support, and to the media for helping raise awareness within these regions and communities. Thank you from our UN Women team for all your support as well. Once again, we're streaming across new live platforms today. If you have a radio station you'd like us to broadcast from, please make sure to email us because we'd love to connect with more entrepreneurs. On that note, we have some very, very, very big, exciting news coming your way, so stay tuned. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, you're here to learn from the world's best, and that's what we're going to give you. Just to explain to our guest panelists how this is going to work, we are going to pose a question to you. We'd love to hear your responses. The questions go to all our panelists, but we'll direct it to each of you. And then we'd love to hear from you. Please keep your answers short because we have a lot of questions coming your way. So let's jump on in and start learning. Murray, first question goes to you. Sorry to put you on the spot, but you are used to it. So let's hear it, okay? What is your perception of being an entrepreneur?
I think for me, being an entrepreneur, it's really about getting a freedom and also getting to serve as well. So basically, the way I see entrepreneurship is giving your best to come to solve a problem. So you basically come as a solution-solving person, but at the same time, you want your idea and your work to benefit the world, to grow, and to also generate some benefits around the world, to do good. So that's really the way I see entrepreneurship. It's both way. It's a personal thing when you look at freedom and the capacity that it gives you to actually interact with other people and also impact the life of other people, but at the same time, it has a bigger purpose where you really want to get out the best of people and also improve their life.
Thank you, Murray. Very, very inspiring words. Sandra, anything you'd like to add to what Murray was saying?
Oh, I think she covered it really well. You know, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 20 years old, and I must say that having the freedom to work your own hours, even though when you're an entrepreneur, you usually put more hours in than when you do ordinary work job, but they're hours that you feel that you're passionate about. So an entrepreneur is really somebody, in my view, who has a passion and a calling and such a mission that they really want to do what they want to do, how they want to do it. And I think the most important thing is there's a curiosity level that is really, really important for people when they're an entrepreneur. For instance, I know Jack Canfield, who is a very good friend of mine. Now, this is a man who sold over 500 million books around the world. He's one of the most successful people in the US. He has been to over 600 trainings and he never ever stops learning. In fact, he's employed me to be one of his coaches for him and his team. So entrepreneurship is about curiosity, learning, growing, but it's about doing it in your time. So it's like you're the master of your own destiny. So I think combined with Mariah and just adding that little bit, that would probably do it for me.
Absolutely, exquisitely said. We're off to a brilliant start today. So thank you to Mariah and thank you to Sandra. A question for you, Carol. Following on what Sandra would say. Sandra had some very interesting points there, and I'd love to touch on this, that business ideas literally force you out of your comfort zone. Experts tell us to meet new people, go to meetups, go try new activities, travel to different sorts of places, do what you're not accustomed to do to ultimately make you a better entrepreneur. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think that, thanks for the questions. Because as an entrepreneur, building on what the two panelists has discussed just now, we really need to be purposeful entrepreneurs. We need to we want to be entrepreneurs that solve people's problems. Yeah. Sometimes the problems that we try to solve, we have very little knowledge about. Because when there are problems from entrepreneur point of view, they are business opportunities. And if we can solve business problems and people problems, we create our entrepreneurial venture. That's very important. And I think from solving people's problems, it is actually a source of innovation. Yeah? Innovation is something that I'm very passionate about. And I believe that solving people's problem should be what every entrepreneur should be looking at.
Extremely well said. And again, you've touched on some very interesting points, this idea of solving a problem. Today, we're joined by many aspiring entrepreneurs who are here to learn, how do you actually do this and make a success of it? And this question goes to you, Sandra. Based on your experience, is there a good time to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Look, the best time to be your entrepreneur is when you're ready. Now, yesterday I had a call with a woman who's in a really financial stable job that she does love, but she wants to go out and do her own thing and become her own master in her own business. But for me, being able to say to her, make sure that you have the financial stability behind you before you switch from corporate America to entrepreneurship, so that you're not left in the deep end and that you can't pay your rent. Obviously, I started when I was 20 and I didn't have an option, quite frankly, because I couldn't get a job in my hometown. So I started my own fashion boutique, and that went from strength to strength to strength. And that was because from the age of 12, I had been brought up in that world because my mother had fashion boutiques. So I knew the ropes. Even as a young girl, I'd been in the shops learning how to do things. I was naturally at 16 taking over the shops and managing them during school holidays. This is about doing something that that you know that you're good at, and it's about a continual learning curve. So I would say that if you can find yourself in an area where you have a little financial stability before you jump into this in this day and age, great. If not, and that's your first port of call, and like me, you couldn't get a job, then make sure that you have the tools and the mindset, the conscious mindset. That's the most important thing. In fact, I'm going to talk a bit later that for me, the most important thing is about really making sure that you have your being, your frequency, your being, and who you are really locked in before you start acting. So you're coming from this place where you have a very calm, creative confidence, and that, once you've got that, then you go into entrepreneurship, because from that place, people believe you. They want to work with you. They want what you've got because you're coming from this beautiful beingness place where you have this presence, confidence, and leadership.
As I said to you earlier, beautifully said, and you some critically important points that I'm definitely coming back to. Following on from what you were saying, Marie, I know you've spoken a lot about this in your books and you've been a serial entrepreneur. Based on your experience, for a lot of the entrepreneurs who are starting out, and as a refresher for entrepreneurs already running their businesses, what were the steps that you felt put you onto the road to success in terms of bringing your ideas to life?
I think the first thing is, like Sandra was saying, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to take the step further, because it's not an easy road. You go through quite a lot of challenges, and I think you have to be ready to fail and be able to handle the failure through your entrepreneurship journey. And so it comes down to being able to go out of your comfort zone. And I think in entrepreneurship, your comfort zone is actually not your friend. You have to be able to stretch yourself. You have to be able to be comfortable to go out of your comfort zone, and really be flexible as well, because I mean, you need to react very quickly, because things are changing so quickly now. So you have to continually learning and adapting to new situation, new information, and really keep having an open mind and be quick in thinking and making decisions. And there's also the you have to be able to be competitive, and which means that you have to bring innovation all the time, be creative, be a step further compared to whoever is your competitor, or really compared to what you've already delivered, do something better that you've done. And the big part of this is really also work with other people, have a network, be able to delegate what you don't do very well, and really focus on things that you know how to do, to be able to really thrive in your business, and have the right support system as well, because your network is very important, and it's going to help you to really grow in what you're trying to do. And I think Sandra touched the last point I want to talk about, is that you have to be able to manage your cash, your money very well, because it's good to have the passion, it's good to have the plan and all those ideas. But at the end of the day, if you can't manage your financial, your money, your cash, I mean, at some point it's going to crash. So those are really the key things that you need to focus on to be successful.
I am very lucky to be hosting these sessions, because I get to learn from the world's best. Marie, you touched on some very interesting points. Once again, I'm coming back to you. Kyrul, following on from what Marie was saying, she touched on some critically important points. Do you think that it's true that a business's success will depend more on the entrepreneur's drive than the business idea itself?
Well, thanks for the question, Alysia. I think it is more on the business, the entrepreneur drive is more important, because ideas are cheap. You know? In today's world, you can get a lot of ideas. For example, you can, particularly if you are in services businesses, there are many simple ideas that you can instantly apply. However, the business drive is an innate ability of the entrepreneur to endure, to be very passionate, and to have imagination, very high imagination, to drive the ideas further, you know. And I like to quote this person called Ed Catmull. He is the CEO of Pixar. He said that when you give a great idea to a mediocre team, it will not be successful. However, if you give a mediocre idea to a great team, it will be likely to be very successful. So, in my opinion, success is very much determined by the drive of the entrepreneur, willingness to pursue, willingness to endure, willingness to take hit and got back up again the next day, even though the entrepreneurs may have experienced something, some setback, maybe. Uh, no doubt, good idea helps. For me, in my opinion, the entrepreneur drives are far more important than.
Thank you, Khairul. Now, you've touched on, again, some interesting points, and I'm going to just jump right in because this is critically important for our entrepreneurs to hear. How much do you really think an entrepreneur needs to start a business? Khairul, this one's for you. Let's take
All right. Can you repeat the question again, Alysia?
Sure. How much do you believe, based on all your experience, an entrepreneur needs these days to start a business?
Well, I think I like one of the panelists mentioned earlier on that you need to have some money to start somewhere. Yeah, I really don't have a figure. I started my business with only a few hundred ringgit, a few thousand ringgit. It's just that you really need to find a business that really solving a particular problem. You know? For example, I give one example. A friend of mine observed around his area, his housing area, there are a lot of abandoned village house. So he saw that as a business problem because the abandoned house become a crime spot. So he started offering cleaning the houses, and it turns out within a few months he generated a few thousand ringgit, and it's a profitable business. So how much was his investment? Maybe a few hundred ringgit just to buy some equipment. I'm in the opinion that we should start small. We should test the idea first. We need to look at the problems and validate it with our customers. I'm not a big fan of acquiring big technology or acquire companies or go right away into a VC. Well, there are people, entrepreneurs who does that. However, I think in today's economic environment, entrepreneurs need to be very cautious about what kind of money they invested in. And money really hard to come by if you don't have a good business model at the same time. So if you ask me how much money, I think use and make do what you have, find a problem to solve and try out.
Thank you, Khairul. This is why we are hosting sessions like this particular one today, because I think the issue for many of us is that everybody is chasing unicorns and billion-dollar sales of their companies, and it's not a reality for many of us, but this is fantastic advice. Sandra, what are your thoughts in terms of what Khairul was saying? How much money did it take for you to start your business?
Yeah, well, I would say in this day and age, you would probably want at least 6 months worth of finances behind you to back you up, and because you need to be able to pay your rent, feed your family, and do what you have to do whilst you're getting businesses off the ground. However, I say that when I was 20 and I opened my first boutique with my first husband, we mortgaged our house for $4,000. This was obviously a long time ago. And we painted the shop ourselves. I physically sewed up the lampshades that I wanted to have in the place. We went to antique places and bought really inexpensive, cheap, fabulous furniture. We did everything on a shoestring budget. And when I opened the doors to that boutique with the small amount of stock in it that I could put in it, because of that budget, I practically sold out in the first day and had to go and buy more the next day. But again, I knew that industry as a 20-year-old. I know that sounds crazy. And my husband has been in fashion for 10 years. I had such supreme confidence in who I was and what I could do, and my ability to buy what I knew that people would love and that would make them feel confident, that that we were able to mortgage our home. Honestly, I don't think I would do that these days. I think that I would rather get myself get myself a job, put away the money, have 6 months there, and then whilst I'm doing that, start putting out my shingle, start saying, this is what I'm offering, and actually start offering it whilst I'm even still in another job, so that I can start having people that the transition from one place to another becomes seamless, and you're not left going, wow, how do I feed my baby? So I'm being very pragmatic about this, and some people can't get a job, and therefore they have to come up with the idea. But again, if they're really passionate about it, if they're coming from a place where they know they're confident in who they are, and they really use the tools to stay that way and to have this presence and calm, then they're going to be successful, especially if they're prepared to put the work in. It's, when you're an entrepreneur, there's a level of ideas, and there's a level of being able to move in different directions and flexibility, but the creativity is super, super, super important, because you're going to find yourself being a master of lots of different things when you start your own business if you're starting from scratch. And that's a lot of fun, but you just have to be prepared for that.
Thank you, Sandra. And it's very interesting everything you're saying, because globally, it seems like experts are encouraging more and more entrepreneurs to take this route. And, I travel a lot. I've seen the dark side of entrepreneurship. A lot of entrepreneurs think it's fun and games, it's exciting and you're living your dreams, but they're both, as you say, they have to be paid. Children have to go to school, and the reality is that you need to be realistic about these things. So thank you for drawing our attention to this, because it is so critically important. Murray, any thoughts you'd like to add to what Sandra and Karul have been saying? Murray, are you there?
Yes, I think it actually depends on the idea that you come up with and what problem you're really looking to solve. You can actually try to address something new where you need more financial capital, where you need capital upfront, big capital upfront. You can also, look at filling a gap and really capitalizing on what is existing already. So it really depends. Nowadays with the internet, being a online entrepreneur, it's quite cheap. You can start tomorrow and run a business, I don't know, as a freelancer, or doing a lot of things online. So it really depends. If you really go for something traditional, then you need some capital upfront and really have a backup to cater for any failure in this case.
Thank you, Murray. And talking about that, Karul, what were some of the biggest challenges? I know we keep talking about money and, finding the idea, validating it. But on your journey as an entrepreneur, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced, both internally, such as fear of failure, and both externally in actually building your business?
Yeah. Thanks for the question again, Alysia. Perhaps I can also draw. In 2008, that was my first so-called commercial venture into part of entrepreneurship. I set up a restaurant which involved about 300,000 ringgit capital to start with, and within a year we closed shop. I lost big time savings and all that. So that's why I realized that sometimes as an entrepreneur, we may have a great idea from where we sit or from where we stand. However, sometimes the idea may be only look good from the way we see it, not from the customer point of view. So number one, other than money, other than what we call the idea itself, it is also important for us to look the idea from the customer's angle. Yeah, that's number one. Number two is I was.
Please keep going, Carol. I think we lost Carol there.
Hello.
Please keep going, Carol.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
We listening.
So also from from experience from some of my clients who are corporate entrepreneurs, their challenges are different. Their challenges is not about money. Their challenges are about decision making, about technology, about leadership. So for those who are listeners who are probably corporate entrepreneurs, I think the challenge actually in getting a buy-in, getting leaders to give a get-go, getting approvals, making sure that the ideas are tried and tested beyond the dollars and cents. And I think for entrepreneurs, the most important thing is to always start small. I really try to convince all the listeners here that we should really start small and try to get early feedback on our ideas before we put in the extra money. It's always nice to have a big business. However, it is also important for us to manage our risks correctly, especially when you are starting out.
Karul, I'm coming back to you on this concept of validation because it's so critically important. But I'd love to follow up with Sandra in terms of what you've been saying. Sandra, you're a successful woman entrepreneur. Touching on what Karul was saying, we have many women entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs from around the world joining us, many in emerging markets where it's very challenging for them to build businesses for a series of reasons. Could you talk to us about the internal and external challenges you face on your journey to success?
Oh, sure. I think the external ones for me were definitely about managing my own energy and capacity because, as an entrepreneur, you want to give your best. And one of the most important things here, which I haven't touched on yet, is what's most important about all of this is how you can give. So I know we've been talking about needing money and we need the financial rewards. We have to also focus on the fact that when you are completely focused on how much you are giving and that what you are giving is useful and it can help people on a very deep and meaningful level, then people really get that and they want to work with you. So for me, a big challenge was I'm like a racehorse. I'm just going to go. And overwhelm and burnout were the big deal for me. And I think avoiding overwhelm and burnout were very important. And that's where I had to really find the tools to stop the overwhelm and burnout, because people these days everyone is suffering. People are feeling in their businesses, they're feeling fear, frustration, sadness, depression, and because they're feeling overwhelmed and they're not managing their time. I'd love to give a little tool that I used because I think as an entrepreneur, when you get to that place where you're dealing with maybe failing health because you're burnt out, when you're dealing with a failed marriage or you're dealing with kids needing you when you need to be working, you're dealing with all of these challenges that are coming up on a daily basis. And when you show up for those challenges, you're either going to show up in a way that that creates the solution. They're going to show up in a way that makes the problem worse. And for instance, at 27, when I was going through a divorce, I did have failing health. I was trying to run a business where my town was in a financial crisis. 7 people in the town had committed suicide because they'd lost everything. I mean, yes, I was coping with a lot of things. And I didn't realize that the way I was showing up at work was affecting my staff. And one day, a very courageous staff member came to me and she said, Sandra, we never know what we're going to get with you. If you're going to be angry, upset, sad, happy, okay, a bitch. And I thought, wow, it was like a light went on, and absolutely knowing that in every entrepreneur's case, we have to take total radical personal responsibility for how we show up and everything that happens in our lives, because there is no one else. And blaming, complaining, and justifying simply doesn't work. So every morning before work, I would sit in my car, I'd take a deep breath, and I'd ask myself 4 questions. Would you like me to share them with everyone? Because
absolutely, so go for it, Sandra.
Yeah. So the question you have to ask yourself when you're starting to feel overwhelmed, getting burnt out, and you realize that you need to pick yourself up so that you can be successful in your business and your love life, and that is, what am I feeling? What am I focused on? What do I want to feel? And what focus will serve that? And for me, it was easy. Like, what I was feeling, wow, I did not want to go to work, because every 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I'd have one of my suppliers ringing, asking me for money that my business wasn't generating, and it was really upsetting for me. And then what was I focused on? I was focused on the fact that I didn't want to be there and go through that. What did I want to feel? I wanted to feel happy about going back to work and being there. And what focus will serve that? And I needed to focus on how much I respected and loved my staff, how much I loved my clients, and how much I even respected and loved my...
Sandra?
Am I on?
Yeah, please keep going. Yeah, you please keep going. I think there was a repeat. Please keep going.
Okay. And how much I even respected and loved the people who were ringing asking me for money. Now, when I walked into that business, into my shop, my staff were just, wow, they loved this person. They loved their leader. And I was loving and respecting them. I was more honoring of where they were coming from, what their needs were. My clients came in and they could feel the love and respect I had for them. And then when my suppliers were ringing me asking for money, and I was able to say from a place of real integrity, hey, I don't have it, but the minute I do, every week I will pay you a part of what I make this week. And they believed me. Now, this is in a financial time when other people were saying the check's in the mail, and of course it wasn't. So other people were lying to them. This is a really important point when you're an entrepreneur. You have to be able to trust yourself enough that you come from a place of integrity no matter what. There is no justifying, no complaining, and no blaming that will work in that situation. And truly, those 4 questions, getting my internal state and my beingness really lifted up onto this beautiful high frequency.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but we've got so many questions we want to ask you, and I know the community wants to keep hearing from all of you. Lorraine, something that keeps coming up that everybody wants to know is from you as the expert, where have you found your best business ideas over the course of your journey as an entrepreneur?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I think that's a very interesting one. I think just gonna step back a little bit here is I mean, we always have ideas. I think that's I mean, there's always plenty of ideas. I mean, I myself every day had this routine to actually put 5 ideas all the time that I that come out of the blue, just brainstorming and see what I could do with it. But the big step is really, how do you bring about those ideas and actually create something out of it? And I think when I really had those great ideas is when I was actually in Asia. I've worked in Malaysia actually, and I was so amazed by I mean, how people were lively and how people could start something from nothing and with little. And that was really my inspiration. Really see how start with a small idea, a lot of work, and really putting all the determination and putting all the work, because the work ethics was just phenomenal, and really pushing for those ideas and see those business really succeed. So I would think it came from this part of the world where, I mean, obviously there's a lot going on there as well. Asia Pacific is very dynamic. You have Malaysia and Singapore, and I could actually tap into all this ecosystem to really build on that, to put some to start some businesses. I mean, that's been really the big moment for me.
Thank you, and very interesting points, Marie, because one of the things that a lot of the venture capitalists here have noticed from listening to our buy-side chats and interacting with our entrepreneurs is that something very unique about the emerging markets, how we do think of very simple ideas, but we turn them into big businesses because, as Sandra even said, we've started businesses on the fly. That's what we do. You have to solve a problem, you solve a problem, build a business. So thank you, very interesting insights. Khairul, we'd love to hear your thoughts in terms of what Marie was saying. Where did you obtain your best business ideas from? Khairul, I hope we never lost you there. Sandra, you got to tell us, where did you find your best business ideas from?
Well,
Hello.
I think I fell into them, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people do that too. Obviously, the fashion industry I fell into because I had been involved in it. When my husband and I created a world luxury retreat in New Zealand, we did that because we wanted to bring our personal development work to the world, and this place was a power place. So it was like, and then that place needed a restaurant, and then that place needed something else. It's almost like this spiral happens that once you start in one area of a business, you see what that area needs next, and then you fill that need. So entrepreneurship is about filling a need for your business and the people that you're dealing with. So it's like, yeah, you can fall into an idea because you love it, you're passionate about it, and then you go, well, what else do they need? What else do they need? And that's the way entrepreneurs work.
Very, very good advice, Khairul. Please let us hear more about how you came to your best ideas.
Yeah, I do love traveling. I like traveling, local and international. I go to ASEAN countries. I love reading. Reading really helped me to get new perspective about certain markets, certain demographics, particularly now where innovation is driven by new population and rapid urbanization. And I also do cycling. No? I found like my cycling journey, whenever I have a pressing need for new ideas, I go out and cycle for 1 hour to 2 hours. I normally solve or get some new perspective on the new ideas whenever I do this activity.
Great advice, Khairul. Talking about reading, you know, our community is founded on the importance of reading, self-growth. Are there any books you would like to recommend in terms of that have really helped get those ideas going?
Yeah, the latest book that I'm currently reading is from Thomas Friedman, where the title is "Thank You for Being Late." I think that it's a great book. He trying to explain what was this feeling that we have so rapidly and so anxious to know, and where does it come from and where it's going to lead us. So I really think for all entrepreneurs to have their hand on this book, to give them some perspective about, one is the big business like in technology. At the same time, he also draw insights from new markets, new demographic change, and also what's in store for us in the future.
Thank you, Khairul. I hope all our entrepreneurs paid attention there. Marie, I know you're an author. What are the books that really get your juices flowing that our entrepreneurs should be reading? I think we lost Murray there for a second. Sandra, I know you're a best-selling author. You know the books you want our entrepreneurs to be reading?
Absolutely. I think Jack Canfield's book, The Success Principles, is a must for anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur. And obviously people like Bob Proctor. I love Robert Kiyosaki's work. He started from nothing, just with an idea. And he talks about not needing a lot of business education and training, but having the idea and being able to implement it. So I would say you can't go wrong between Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, and Robert Kiyosaki. You're really starting to get a lovely, a lot of different angles and views there. And of course, the more you read, you find that there's a truth running through all of them. And that's what I really love about this, that there's a bottom line, and you start to learn it and you start to embrace it. And when you do that, you start to feel like you are confident enough to know that you are going to be successful in whatever endeavor you go into.
Once again, fantastic advice. Murray is back. Murray, I know you read a fortune. Which are the books that just get your juices flowing when it comes to coming up with cool entrepreneurial ideas?
I think I'm a big fan of Anthony Robbins. So that's one of the, I think he just released one of his books, which is Unshakable. Very, very good book that I recommend to the audience. And I also like Ken Blanchard. He has all those small books. I mean, there's a 1 Minute Entrepreneur and a few other books that actually very good, very quick to read and very well summarized. And that's actually that I would recommend as well. So I have a long list, but I'm not gonna extend here on all of this. Yeah.
Well, I hope our entrepreneurs took notes, because reading is the key to success. So thank you to all of you. I have a question for you, Khairul. Today you sit as a successful entrepreneur, and you know a ton of stuff about being an entrepreneur. What do you wish you knew when you were starting out that you could have told that younger version of yourself?
I would say that start early and start small. I had this idea back in the early 90s, actually, the true story, about storing digital photos, pictures, images, yeah? So I thought about having what we have today is a digital photo frame. So I went around, that was back in 1994, 95, you know. At the time, I brought my first digital camera. And I told myself it would be nice for us to have this digital photo frame. It took me a long time to really size up what I really need. I end up didn't pursue that idea, only to realize years later, I saw that in one shop. That's exactly how I want it to be, right? And I wish I could have started earlier, something small. I was not afraid to try. And I was willing to look entrepreneurship as one of the options, because back then when I was younger, entrepreneurship always being associated with less educated people. Entrepreneurship is seen as a low-class profession. However, now things have changed. As we could see, all the panelists are well educated, and we believe in continuous learning. So that would be the advice that I would give myself. I would give my younger self. For me.
Thank you, Khairul. We're going to have to definitely have you back again, because once again, you've touched on some very interesting points. Sandra, what do you wish you could have told your younger self?
Oh, look, get the mentors. Just have the mentors, baby. Everything's going to be okay. You know you've got the passion. You know that you've got the confidence. You meditate, you exercise, you're going to look after yourself. You're going to pace yourself. You're going to show up as the person that you can be proud of. Get the mentors. Put your hand up. Ask for help. Pay for for the coaches, and not just the business coach, but the spiritual coaches. So definitely, my younger self, I would say, you know, get your state in order, have fun, find the people that you admire, that you know can you know, lift you up, and work with them.
Sandra, as I say, I know our entrepreneurs are going to ask me to bring you back, so we ask you to come back. Murray, what do you wish you could have told your younger self?
I think for me, it's more about leveraging on expertise and experience of others. I had the tendency when I started my journey in entrepreneurship to try to do everything by myself, and really not delegating enough, and really spending a lot of time wasting time on things that I had no clue about, instead of really, like Sandra was saying, paying for the service and really get it all going. So and the other thing is really to I would tell to myself to really show up strong and powerful, really get the guts to put those ideas on the table straight away, instead of thinking and trying to have the perfect plan, the perfect idea and process, because you just realize that you lose so much time, and it's not helping your business at all. So those are the two key things that I would say.
Thank you, Murray. And all of you have touched on something really important, the role of mentors. And Kyrul, this is a question for you, but just going on what we've been discussing, today you are all joining us, and you're all very, very busy people. You're experts at what you do. You've got businesses to run, but clearly you practice what you preach, because you are mentoring us. We're learning from you. We're so appreciative. But for a lot of entrepreneurs starting out, money is one of the most important drivers, especially with the media driving this idea that you can buy expensive cars and homes and private jets, and you've got Silicon Valley billionaires buying the craziest of things. What does it mean for you at this stage of your career to be successful?
I think being successful has many definitions. For me, being successful is being able to give back to my customers and also their business. That's very important. I find happiness when I see my clients, my customers able to reap the benefits of the services and solutions that I provide them. And it pains me sometimes whenever I also deal with women entrepreneurs via Cherry Blair Foundation. I realize that they really have big dreams. So I'm very satisfied whenever we have chats, we have sessions, the discussion leads them to better at their game in their business. So being successful for me is not just about being financially sustainable for my own business. It is also important for my clients to reap the same, if not more, benefits from my services as well.
Thank you. The whole concept of adding value is so important for all of us as entrepreneurs. Sandra, what does it mean to be successful at this point in your career?
Oh, there's just this level of joy that I feel when I'm working with my clients now, that I get off the phone and I've helped empower someone to shift from where they are to where they want to be. And that the feeling, hearing the joy in other people, hearing the joy in my clients, absolutely being able to guide them out of the angst and the challenges that they're facing, and bring them to this place of calm confidence where they can go and they can have the impact and the income that they want to have in their lives. It is ecstatic for me. So success for me is definitely about obviously being able to, you know, have the lifestyle and pay the rent and have a beautiful lifestyle, but it's also about being able to really impact people and help empower people on such a deep and meaningful level. That's success to me. And of course, success is about how you show up. And I want people to have the love, the business success and the life that I've got. And so for me, I feel very successful when I watch my clients turn a corner and they start to have the same kind of life.
Thank you, Sandra. Marie, I know we're running out of time, but we definitely want to hear from you. What does it mean to be successful today?
I think for me, being successful is really have the freedom to do what I want and when I want, but also be an inspiration for other people. I mean, Sandra touched about it, really get to impact people for them to become the best that they can be and really shine the light in the world, really get them to be the best that they can be and contributing to their happiness, really.
Thank you, Marie. Now, before we close off, we're going to ask our panelists to prepare a tweet piece of advice that we can go and apply to our businesses. So while our panelists are preparing those tweets, I just want to say thank you to you, our global fireside chat community. Thank you to everyone for an amazing session. Just to keep you posted on an upcoming session with some of the world's best joining us as guest panelists. Huge community demand. Guess what? Next week, we're doing a follow-up session on today's session, and we have a panel of global experts joining us. I know you wanted it, and we are delivering, so you've got to join us next week, May 10th. And then on Sunday, May 14th, we've got an awesome investor session planned for you, how to create a killer entrepreneur's mindset and investor's perspective. So you don't want to miss that. Next week, Sunday, May 14th. Then on the 17th of May, we've got our monthly Inspiring Women session. 5 very successful women entrepreneurs share the best advice they ever got. Definitely don't want to miss that one. And then on the 24th of May, touching on what Sandra and our other panelists were saying, do you work too hard as an entrepreneur? Take back control of your life, so you definitely don't want to miss that one either. It's been an absolutely amazing session. Please keep us up to date on all your progress and exciting news. We know we love hearing from you, and we'd love to showcase your success. As you know, you can drop us an email at inspireme@onlinefiresidechat.com. You can find me as well as our VIP guests and our champions on LinkedIn, and we always love hearing from you. Don't forget, if you enjoyed today's session and feel there are other entrepreneurs around the world who could benefit from our fireside chat, please remember to share the invitation, because we want to learn from them, we want to grow, and we want to reach our 100-country goal. We can only do that with your help. Now, before we sign off, we want to hear from our experts. So, Sandra, please give us your tweet piece of advice.
Okay. My tweet piece is think about who you are being before acting, because how you show up speaks volumes before you say a word.
Love it. Marie, please go for it.
For me, it's really be unapologetic about who you are, be yourself, show up authentic, and reflect it in your business.
Love it. Karul, please give us your tweet piece of advice.
Yeah, my tweet piece sounds like this: show up, stand out, and start now as an entrepreneur.
Thank you, Karul. Just before we sign off, my piece of advice, learning from my experts, everybody be grateful for everything that you have. We are extremely privileged to be entrepreneurs, to have our community, to be able to do something special together. We have our friends and family. We are living through dark times, but together there is light and hope and inspiration. So thank you to everyone. On the count of 3, I want our panelists to all shout bye. So everybody, 1, 2, 3, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Namaste.
Thank you, Alysia.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Keep hustling. Never give up. Bye for now. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.